When you say there's a lot going on, what exactly?
Oh, I'm just saying that, I haven't seen myself that much all over in newspapers, on TV, social media, and it's impressive for me. But also, there are a lot of, positive and negative stuff, and, you have to manage it and be focused and just follow what you want to do. Your vision is more important.
I mean, for the past few days, you've been availing yourself to scrutiny by the media. We've seen that you've been doing a lot of interviews here and there, opening yourself up for all kinds of questions to be asked of you. How has that been going?
Well, I just decided to have a media tour, and I thought that it's best that I open up to the country. I share my message with them. So the questions that people have for me as well, I can answer them. That's one. Two, I also thought that it's good that I go to all these media platforms in the country so I can have the opportunity of them sharing their platform with me whilst I am able to share with people what they want to find out about the New Force movement and all the other things that is circulating this very historic moment.
The New Force movement.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Where did it come from?
I'm sitting right here. I've unveiled myself already to the nation. My political strategy and my campaign has not only just been done by me, but with my entire team. We've worked together. We've made sure that whatever that we're presenting out there or sending to the people, the message, they should be able to embrace the message. We thought that is greater vision to let people understand that they should never just look at the messenger, but they should really listen to the message. And hence, that's why the mask was just the beginning of everything.
I see. This whole presidential bit thing, is it a publicity stunt?
Why would I be doing a publicity stunt at this point of my life? Do you think I need any more fame or popularity? Do you think fame is going to pay me? Why would I be pulling a publicity stunt? I am on a mission, and I have a vision, and I am coming to help build my nation, build my country. And I'm very serious about that. I have woken up as a leader. Some people might think I'm a politician. I do not know anything about politics, and I haven't been in your world. And it's not in my interest to get up and say I'm going to have a publicity stunt just to be in the circles of politicians.
You want to be president?
Yes, I have decided to be, because it's the only way for us to have access, power, authority to shape the country and shape the nation the way it's supposed to be, to create the kind of jobs that would create a middle-class people. And we all can live a better life this way. We don't want 1% of Ghana being successful and 99% struggling. I certainly think it's not fair.
You think you have what it takes to be president?
I do have what it takes to lead a nation or to lead people. I have started on a very small scale, from the businesses that I've created. But there's a saying that the little can become 1,000, and the small people can become a nation, a strong nation. So we all have to understand that we came to this earth without knowing some of the things that we know now. But as we were growing, we started exploring and we started expanding, and exponentially we all came up with different characters and different visions, different mindsets and different achievements. So I don't like to underestimate my own capacity, and I don't like my capacity to also undermine my ability. I just believe that what should be done that I can do, that many people cannot do, I should not have a doubt just because many people cannot do means that you can't do it. And those who think it shouldn't be done or cannot be done should not get in the way of those who are doing it.
So what are the contributions that you've made to this country that people should look to you and say, okay, this is a man that can lead us?
I haven't made that much contributions, but the little I've done is very visible. There are landmarks of development. At my age, I expect to have a lot more competitors who are also Ghanaians doing the same, but the system is not allowing them. And I'm not also saying that I am the best in doing what I'm doing, but I can see clearly that in my 30s, I decided to introduce industrialization, to build a manufacturing hub and an industrial hub that would be able to support the entire country by, cutting the importation that is deregularizing our economy, and then pushing with exportation so I can create distribution channels and create jobs and create economic prosperity. But I was doing this in my 30s. I also decided to build, developments from residential to commercial to national and even industrial. So I've done all these 4 sectors of development in the real estate sector. And I realized that I had to get my own architects. I had to hire them. I had to hire engineers. Even though I'm not the one that knows how to draw, I found the people that did it well. I'm not the one that is able to find what to do with the steel as an engineer or the electrical power, but I found those people as well. And I put all of them together, and I realized that I started creating wealth and I started building communities. So for me, that is my little contribution. But if that is what I want to claim to be a president, then I will say I'm lying. I just think that if this can be done by a lot more younger people who are coming and be inspired, we already would be moving somewhere, a step. But I don't also see that currently with the national governance, that their support. In fact, I can boldly say that I have never had a thank you or well done from any leader of this country, that this is a great landmark for you to have built in this country. Well done.
But would that mean anything to you?
It will.
I mean, if a president or a major player in government or politician said, oh, thank you for doing this, or thank you for doing that, thank you for putting up #1 Oxford Street and all of that, I mean, what would that really do for you?
It will give you moral support. Moral support sometimes is more important than financial support. I'm sure you're wearing a nice suit, you look very nice, and you speak great grammar. I'm sure people have acknowledged you and about how you dress and how you speak, and that is part of the reasons why you believe that you're on the right track. So we need that. I think our people should not pull us down. They should uplift us when we do great. After all, the greatest people were not born great, but they grew great. And I want to inspire all the youth that this is the way we should be thinking. We shouldn't go against the best of ourselves. We should rather uplift ourselves when we're doing best so we can do more.
And you talked about, wanting to do industrialization, putting up an industrial hub and all of that. Where have you done this, and what kind of impact has that had on the country, in terms of the job creation, in terms of even contributing to this country's economy and all of that?
Well, I started from Takoradi. First of all, the acquisition alone took me 3 years. I think that a lot of young people will probably not understand acquisition when I say this here. But, acquiring a land and making sure it becomes yours in a legit primacy, you would need to do a lot of things. I had to put 65 families together, 11 chiefs and 1 subdivisional chiefs, an entire commission, and it took me 3 years to buy just the land as a 2,000-acre parcel. And then when I had to put the master plan together, I had to bring in about 12 architects, 16 engineers, and different types of people, and I had to do research. This took me a long time just to get into the first phase. And then after, you have to go into the basic infrastructure. That is you cutting the roads. That is you doing all of that stuff. So basically, all of these processes that we have to go through just to start an industrialization is taking us years. Just to build one factory is taking us years. Not only the arrangement, but also the investment, the commitment. It's a lot to do. And sometimes you need support. You need the government endorsement. You need the nation's support. You need the average investor to be a part of all of this to make it happen. The point is, how easy do we think one can do all of this even if they had the vision? What they go through, the EPA permits, the construction permits, all the investment that you have to do, and yet you're not being uplifted by the people who are surrounded by you. Let me give you a scenario in America. You have some great leaders like Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, and all of these people. These guys are published every month in the Forbes. The Americans are trying to tell the world that we have the most billionaires, the most successful people. And the more they promote them, the more they uplift them, the stronger they become, and the more they conquer the world. When you come to Africa, we find any ways and means to pull down from Dako Farms, who was one of my mentors when I was growing up. I learned from him. I wanted to be a poultry farmer, and I was inspired by him. Today, there is no one chicken of Dako Farms in Ghana. Everything that he started has been destroyed and pulled apart. It's not that it's been inherited by his children or by the nation. I believe that my inheritance will come to Ghana. It won't just be for my children. The inheritance that I'm going to leave behind would even pass and go across the borders of Ghana, and it would go to Africa. It would reach people. That is my vision. I want people to not just remember me that I came here to become successful. I came here to build a nation and make the nation find a way to succession. And this is important for me.
What has been the response to all of this that you're doing? The presidential bid especially. What has been the response?
What do you see so far? I mean, there's been cancellations, there's been deportations, there's been connotations, there's been many shins, you know, all over.
We'll come to the deportation
yeah,
later.
but you're asking me, and I'm trying to let you know that, you know, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing all of these things around what I'm doing. Now you can look at what I'm doing as the topic. This is me becoming a leader of a nation so I can create jobs and I can create economic prosperity for people. Okay, that's one thing. And the things that surrounds it, it's all the other things that you might want to talk about. So that's what I see.
But I mean, I didn't mean to ask in terms of the forces, for the want of a better word, that you think are attacking you. Do you think you're getting a positive feedback?
I think...
You say you're fighting for the youth.
I think it's a positive feedback for me. I think that the things that people thought that it would pull me down are the same weaknesses that has made me realize where I need to find strength. So I don't know how other people are perceiving it, but for me, this moment is very historic. You know, that from where I came from, you know, that young man that just wanted to make something to put it on the table to feed my mom or my family, now I'm having to be interrogated by a nation and to find out what I can do to help. For me, I see this as an achievement. I see it as a step forward. And I also see it as, you know, I've sparked something that the youth and the people who are coming are also going to repeat it. They would like to move like this. For instance, I saw someone sent me something in GIS, a kid trying to, you know, become some leader in the school. And they also put on a mask and they had their people behind them. So I'm happy that even the youth are beginning to adopt this anonymous practice of, you know, showing the world that you need to find me. Okay.
Now, the same young people or youth that you say that you're fighting for, some of them have said that you're not fit to be president. What they call, you know, is a very eccentric lifestyle, outlandish attires. They think that does not even make you fit to be president. They think that the president of Ghana must be mainstream and modest in their appearance. How do you respond to that?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to answer your question, but I want to ask you, what do you think?
It's not about me.
Because you're part of the youth as well.
It's not about me.
Okay, because you were saying it with like you were a part of it. So I think that some people would say things like this. Yes, I have a brandish lifestyle that is very eccentric and enigmatic. But the question is it about what I wear or is it about what I am ready to give? It's about the knowledge, the wisdom, the message that I'm transcending into this nation that will help some other youth. You know, am I doing that and I'm not able to do anything in the terms of achieving? No. And I also understand that all will not be positive. Some will be negative and some will be positive. Everybody is talked about. You know, Trump is talked about. Kwame Nkrumah is talked about. You're not going to get everything positive. So I'm not worried about them. But I also believe that this same youth some of them are confused because of the current situation of our national governance. Some of them have been let down so many times. Some of them have even given their thumb and sold their soul in exchange of money just to vote for someone that they don't know what they're going to do for them. You know, some of them are being paid just so they can come and say stuff on national television or on social media. Are we doing the right thing as a nation? No. That's not fair. Okay? You don't have to take money from someone to destroy someone. That means you're very close to killing. You will one day grow into that. We need to be real with ourselves as people. You know, and you might not like what I wear, but do you like what I do? You have to like something and you have to dislike something. But just don't try to crush everything around you. Because, you know, I might look like I'm being crushed, but I'm not the one to be destroyed.
You feel like you're being crushed?
No, I said I might look like.
But you feel like you're being crushed?
I don't. That's what I said. I might look like I'm being crushed, but I'm not here to be destroyed. I don't think if I was going to be, you would be the lucky one to do so. Because I've come a long way. And I've met a lot of people on the way. Good people, bad people, two-faced people, all sort of people. I've enjoyed. I've learned from the greatest mistakes of other people. And the worst things about people have taught me how to make myself become the best in what I do. So I don't have an issue with what people say about me, more so than what I can do to contribute to the success of society.
You feel like since you announced your presidential bid, there are people out there to get you. People want to pull you down. They don't want you to succeed. Are you seeing any evidence of that?
I know. I hear a lot of that. But why do you people think...
Do you see that? Do you see people come at you? Do you see the evidence of people just trying to make sure that they pull you down?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't. If anything, I feel like people are trying to defend themselves, you know, and I don't see me being the attacker here. So it makes me sit back and ask myself, are these people scared? Are these people worried? You know, are these people jealous? But any of the three, I don't mind. It's people. They have the right to feel the way they want to feel, to look the way they want to look, and to say what they want to say. In fact, this country has gone beyond freedom of speech. When you go on social media, you know, it's like people are really saying whatever they want to say without even proof. They just say it, you know. So it's the old Ghana, but we're here to make the new Ghana.
It doesn't get to you?
No, it doesn't. I won't be here. I'm very strong in the spirit. I'm very courageous in the spirit. And these things, I will not trade it for money. I will not trade it for fame. I will not trade it for anything. I have to be courageous. I have to be able to stand up to people. People might not be able to stand up to me because I keep going. I keep coming. You know, like the mask has been on. The mask is still off. And I'm still going. Nothing is pulling me back.
Okay. Now, let's get into your presidential bid properly. What would you do? Because just a while ago, you said that, you know, it's not fair how things have been going in the country. What would you do so differently from the NPP and NDC that we have experienced since the Fourth Republic? And whilst you're that, I want to know 5 of your major policy platforms.
Okay, so you asked 2 questions.
Yes.
I will start from the first one. The second one, I'm probably not ready to share all my policies with the country now. I think that they will give me my time to bring all that policies, and then they will look at it, and then, you know, if they have any questions, they can do so. But the first one, what would I do that is so different compared to what is already happening? Okay, the country's foundation is based on the most youth that exists in the country. That is our biggest part of our population. If we are not able to create jobs amongst these people, we would not have an economy running, because it means that most part of the country would be diffused and would have no jobs and would have no aim. So my first concentration I'm here to quadruple, multiply numbers. I'm here to leave the legacy like wealth, like one of the richest people ever, one of the wealthiest. Like, you know, I don't know how to say it in words, but I feel like I'm spiritually, mentally filthy rich because there's so much opportunities that I've created out of the wisdom that God has given me. I'm ordained in the realm of this universe.
I have been joined by my good friend and all-around great guy, Freedom Jacob Chedder. I can do a long introduction, but I'm going to do a brief introduction. He is a philanthropist, entrepreneur, and all-round top player in this place that we call Ghana. I'm sure that you've probably seen him before with a bunch of people. You get to see him today with me, and we are going to speak about who he is, how he has been able to develop to where he is now, and also where he is going in the future. Because as we are speaking about consciousness, we are also speaking about the consciousness of the continent. And as you know from my previous opinions, I don't necessarily believe that the democracy that is in Africa right now is what is needed. Actually, what is needed are strong leaders that are able to organize the resources of the country for the people of the country, rather than selling them out to all the other places that we know the resources are currently going to. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Freedom Jacob Chedder to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, first of all, let's start from childhood so that people can really know, get an idea of who you are. When you were a child, what did you think that you would be when you grew up?
This is probably a question that everybody would like to ask. Someone that has managed to penetrate through borders, because people want to see, you know, the journey that you took to get to where you were. The funny thing is, people never ask people in the beginning of their journey where they're going.
Right.
So I would like to answer this question, but I would also like to add some suggestions to it. I think my childhood was completely different. My mother was a spiritualist, a vegetarian, and penniless, broke.
Okay.
So all the three things that, you know, it's kind of tough to bear with. I was growing up with that. I didn't have radio in my house, no television, so I'm not very much used to information. You know, some people were brought up differently, but that was the way I was brought up. I had to get my information from nature, from friends, from people. So I started studying humanity without knowing that I was, but it's just because I didn't have certain things in my house. I did start my first entrepreneurial business at the age of 8 years without realizing that it was business.
What business was it?
It was just putting two animals together, which was a hen and a cock, so I can get some eggs, just because my brother spent his money on eggs, and I wanted to get some more eggs. But that determination, that passion, and that drive has been with me.
From very, very young.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you said, people only really ask you, you know, about where you're going or where you've come from when they think you're going places.
When you arrive.
When you arrive, right? What ideas did you have for? Because now you know, you started your first business at 8, and now you're a very successful entrepreneur. Why do you want to continue to move forward? Why do you want to continue to grow? What motivates you?
Well, I think growth, it's a great sign of maturity. And every day we grow. I think you grow in a conscious world. You know, some people grow in the music world, some people grow in the business world. You know, I grow in the humanitarian world. I feel like, you know, I need to concentrate on human capitalization and see whatever they can give me and how I can reimburse it into society and do development. I believe in legacy. I don't believe in riches. I mean, like, just like I said, I'm not someone that is just, about nationality. So I've always looked at me as an African, more so than a Ghanaian. Although I am Ghanaian, but I stand for Africa. Why? Because I feel like the opportunities around Africa is bigger. What sort of opportunities am I talking about here? It's not the gold, it's not the minerals, and it's not state money that they're obviously probably using for themselves over here. But it's the opportunity to make or create a change. I feel like we haven't had any revolutionary change in the past 7-8 decades. There was like the independence, but that is just a paper contract. That is not freedom. Like, we are looking for freedom. We are looking for someone to unleash us from our fear. And I see that as a great opportunity that I want to tap into, because you're talking of 70% of the continent. It's the youth. It's quite a good number of people. So I want to tap into that, and seeing the future of Africa, it's not necessarily going to be based on what the outsiders are going to give us in cash to build, or in funds. Because if that was the case, then Africa would have survived maybe 50, 100 years ago. Okay, there's been several supports, but it hasn't worked that way.
Right.
I feel like the mentality of an African, the mindset needs to be changed. So there has to be someone that have to come in with social development and human development at the same time, and not think about democratic politics or constituencies that governs particular audience within a nation.
Right.
I feel like that new opportunity is going to raise a lot of great young leaders who had always had things on their chest and they couldn't get it out for some reason. I feel like freedom myself will be able to get rid of the biggest disease in Africa, and that's fear. And that's what I'm working on now. I mean, some people might look at me from the outside and they say, hey, this guy is flaunting. This guy it's flamboyant. This guy, no, I'm not. That's not the message I'm sending. I'm trying to tell you that, look, this is the only way you can get it. This is the only way you can make it. And you have to have the freedom of fashion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of buying what you have to buy, the freedom of investing, developing, and spending, whatever it is. Because I think most of the African kids are all restricted from this. In fact, they don't know what you're going to do if you ask them the question, what is Africa going to be in 50 years? He's going to ask himself, what am I doing in 5 years? He can't tell that far. Okay, and I want to be able to bring them back. I want to be able to sort of become that, urban, iconic, revolutionary leader that instills this into the youth. So they start to go that way and not look at the government, because I don't want the youth to depend their future on the government when our political platforms are not sort of built properly or tailored properly to suit our economy and our culture. So for me, I am seeing the next 50 years, these opportunities would actually bring Africa back into a realm of creating industrialization of different platforms that would now manufacture and produce our own goods, so we can have exportation power against the Western. So I believe that the table will turn around. And my vision, sometimes I feel like I'm coming from the Bible again. I see if I've been appointed like Moses or David, because, I have a spiritual connection, with the Almighty. And there is not a thing that I've asked, although I've never witnessed anything like God. I don't see him in person, but in spirit, there's not a thing I've asked that I haven't had. And there is not a challenge that I have not had that I haven't been able to overcome. I did these things and, paid some tithes and did what is right in society, how to treat human fairly, how to make the heart not cold but warm, how to make the soul stronger and not weaker, how to, make the brain tick and understand the value of nature to be able to gain wisdom. And all of these packages is like taking me to a level of just keep building the kind of wealth that I never expected myself to have. Definitely, I see Africa as the new continent in the next, not 50 years, but in the next 10 to 15 years. There are going to be some new leaders who are going to put a lot of sanctions of the mistakes of our forefathers. And we will all start not to repeat that mistakes again. Because of technology as well, we will see clearly that now this is not the way, but that's the way. So I see a great future for Africa. But then it's a warning to Africans, don't expect anybody to come and build Africa for you. You have to build Africa. Now, it doesn't matter. You can hire people to build Africa. That's what I'm doing. I hire people. I hire the whites, the Chinese, Italians. I mean, yeah, they all work for me. And it's not a crime. We might work for them too. So we should practice hiring the people to help us develop our continent. But we should be in control, just like what the Arabs did, you know, to gain their kingdom back. You know, they send their children out there to study. I said, when you're coming, bring some people back. And then they look for where they can get the cheapest labor. This time it was Pakistan and some other places. And they brought all of them to Dubai. And they built it in less than 40 years. So I think we should replicate some of these ideas. You know, it's not a crime to copy people's ideas and make it better. And 10 years from now, yes. If they don't, Freedom Jacob Caesar will have the new Africa.
And why Freedom Jacob Caesar? What inspired that name? A lot of people who are from Ghana would have known you by your previous name, which is Chedder, which has to do with getting money. So you got the money, and then it's Freedom Jacob Caesar now. What I see, you know, your emblem on all of your cars. It's kind of, you know, it's on your Instagram. So why Freedom Jacob Caesar? And what does it mean, or what does it stand for?
So first of all, this is a great question, and I don't know if people really get the chance to ask me these questions, but I think it was a whole evolvement of me sort of moving from one realm to another. You know, the Chedder whole thing was like, you know, a street incorporated corporate entrepreneur, you know, and me exiting Chedder and entering Freedom was like a new character. But truly that's my alter ego that has been with me since I was a kid. I just didn't know this guy. He kept kind of scaring me, you know, talking to me sometimes and telling me do this, do that, do this, do this. And finally discovered myself. So I had to build Freedom, you know, as a character, and let the people embrace that character, you know, and forget the old person that I was, because I felt like I had passed that person. But who is this Freedom Jacob Caesar? So it was more of me introducing my movement, which is the triple R. You know, the triple R is redemptive movement, reformative, and revolutionary movement. So it's all 3 R's that I thought in our society, this sort of movement should be effected. You know, just to get a balance and readjust things. But why did I choose the name FJC? Of course, I feel like every African truly needed real freedom, because we still haven't had it, you know, from the way we work, where we live and everything. You know, we're still lacking that. But JC was just me playing with the alphabetical letters to see, you know, the best 2 JCs that have had great stories, and one of them is like my favorite story of all time, and it's the story of Jesus Christ. You know, how everybody is late Mandela, late this, late that. When it gets to Jesus, it's just Jesus, you know. He's like eternal, you know. So I kind of like his story. And he's JC. So then I looked out for the next JC, just because I was also very intrigued with the alphabet J, which was invented in 1542. For some reason, it was the last letter that came. But J is Jesus, J is Judas, J is, you know, many things.
Caesar.
Yes, Jezebel. So, you know, I looked into the next JC, and it was Julius Caesar. And that's when I discovered that, yes, I should be Jacob Caesar, because my movement is supposed to, like, rediscover a society, a nation again, and put them together. Like what the likes of Moses did, what Jacob breeded, you know, sort of talking about Israel, and everybody was discovering themselves, you know, all other places. And I already started a movement with Africa. So that's how I came up with Freedom Jacob Caesar. And I christened myself again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you think of the diaspora, because they're starting to come home, you know, we're here at the number 1, which is one of your buildings, in Osu in Accra, and it is party season, and everybody's coming here from all over the diaspora, and not just the Ghanaian diaspora, all over the black diaspora, all over the world. And they're coming here, started with for this new kind of party resurgence, because people have been coming here with the Year of Return in 2019, and that added a $3.5 billion increase to tourism. Now, even more people are coming every single year after the pandemic. I know that in China between 1950 and 1970, the Chinese diaspora sent back to China about $25.6 billion from all of their various businesses that they had. And actually it took China between 1970 and 1990 to develop to where it is now, about 52 billion. So the diaspora, the Chinese diaspora, actually sent half of the money back to China to develop it to where it is now. What would you say for the diaspora that are coming back home to Ghana, but to Africa in general? What advice would you give to them and how they can be useful in the development?
Well, first of all, I think, the African diasporans should always remember that they're not the Chinese diasporans. Neither are they the other countries, because, one thing that you see through the black race is that there is an augmentation that has taken our identity from us, and it's replaced it with crisis. So no one really knows who they are, like Afro-American and Black British, Jamaican, and sometimes they're not crossing borders easily. It's a whole thing going on. But then when you look at the Chinese, it's just Chinese. It doesn't matter where they are, and it's 1.2 billion of them, and they're just like the whole Africa. But when it comes to us, it's just going to be Ghana and Nigeria and this and that. And so I've been trying to see the outcome of the diasporans who are coming to Africa, that what is it that they have for Africa? Not the fact that they've been passionate enough to come back to Africa to trace their roots, or to visit their family, or to spend some time here, or have decided to invest here. But what is it? What is the total package that is coming into our system? Because I think they really work for different organizations in America, in England, in all over the world. Like, really, if they have to bring those skill sets and decide to insert it into Africa, it's a big movement. It's a revolution. But I feel like the talk is a little bit more than the do. I feel like they like themselves being diasporans. And coming to Africa and being recognized for that. I like it when people are recognized for their inner ability, that strength, that power, that, it's a tenacity, that, it engages human. It makes them feel like, wow, there's a change coming, or somebody has added something to what is happening. And so I'm not seeing that, and I'm not a critic, but I'm extremely careful of what people are doing. I look at my government and I'll probably laugh in my head and I say, yes, fine, you can stay with your laws and, keep your state governance, but what I'm not seeing that is suitable, I'm not doing. If it's not suitable for me as a person, that I think I'm going to do something that will impact other people's lives, I am not going to say that this is the government, and so I'm going to follow his ways. Okay, and that's the same thing that I'm saying right now. I'm still looking for it. And I ask myself sometimes the question, is it that they come here to party or to go and see Elmina Castle and say this is where they sold us, or is it that they're trying to now build another Elmina Castle that other people are coming in who will be traded there? I want to see, like, what is the outcome of all of this? I believe that in this world, when you come here, there's a purpose. Okay, I think every creation on this earth has a purpose, and it's part of the jigsaw, to make something happen. And I don't think we became slaves because God wanted to punish us. No, we became slaves because it's one of the ways that we had to go round and round and round to really find out what we have, and start to value, like, the people we've lost, what they've become, and what if we were all together. But I don't expect someone from Jamaica or someone from America that's a black person to move back to Africa, because it's going to be difficult for them. So I'm not going to trick myself with that reality. America has a better system than Africa. That guy will come here in the next 2 months he will start running without anyone going after them. And you know what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to be biased or like try to say that guys move back here because you're black or that. No, I'm saying that contribute to this revolutionary movement and development, human development, that is going to be historic. A change, like we rising up again like the Arabs. The Arabs were like on the desert just a couple of decades ago. You know, maybe 50 years, 60 years, these guys were, there was barely anything there.
Camels and tents.
Yeah, but look, they've turned it around, and I think, you know, we have a lot of resources that, you know, we can back up the resources. And so that's just my message for the diasporans. You know, I don't want to sit here and say I wish them well, because I want to be on the table with them, doing something that is going to benefit the entire society and the continent, you know, that is going to sort of create a chain link that we will be able to sort of de-entangle ourselves again, you know, and now we're doing something, and you don't have to even be there. But because of communication and technology and information, there's so much that can be done at this moment if the diasporans were to add that value into the system.
So for instance, many people will see this. So if, you know, let's just take, because this is one of the things that I've been trying to communicate to some people, that, you know, the richest billionaire in Africa owns more than all of the billionaires, black billionaires in North America combined. And yet we speak about those people often. And if you had a message for those people in particular, who have a lot of money and they're really consistently reinvesting it into white systems, they're consistently reinvesting it. Now some of them are doing it in Dubai, but what would you say to them about coming here and invest in Africa, and would you like to partner with any of them?
I mean, I did recently tweeted something about Kanye West investing his money in Africa, but you know, let me use this platform and this opportunity to sort of express what I really meant to people. I just think that the young man is a genius to have done what he did, to at least accumulate some great numbers of millions and turn it to billions, which, you know, it's a self-acquisition. And I thought that if JP Morgan, Adidas, and all of these people were now saying we reject these funds, I thought that he could have used it in Africa, just to shut off companies like the World Bank and IMF, who were like, you know, holding us, you know, holding us by our neck, really, just to give us something little. And, you know, the economy was so choked to the point that people were dying. You know, and so if his money was being rejected, I thought it would have been nice to just put it in Africa and show the world that we also have somewhere to put our money, more so than we without your institutions, we don't have anything to do with it. Because one of the things that we're lacking in our society is that we don't believe in anything made by us. Even those people who have become stars. Kanye West had black people buying Yeezy because white people were buying it too, you know? And it's not like I'm saying black people wouldn't, but we just patronize. You know, we don't contribute. White people contribute. They contribute to their entities. Like this has been here for 10 years, and I'm gonna have to put everything in it because this has reputation. And we don't have anything like that, you know. We're waiting for each one to die or their time to pass, you know. So to answer your question, really, that would I want some investment with them, or would I? Yes. I mean, people that have great sense of investment are people who probably think like us. So you know, I would like that. And I don't just see investment as financial, but I also see it as time. You know, the kind of time that they can put in Africa would be interesting, because they do have skills. You know, and sometimes it hurts to see that they just come in to take out of these poor spaces. They come in to actually take 1 million to show their faces as appearance, you know, for shows and all of that. You know, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but they should have something for this poor place in return.
A lot. The thing is that you don't go to poor places to get rich, and a lot of people come here, and they get rich here, and they've been doing it for a long time. So like Byron Allen, Oprah, Diddy, Jay-Z, Rihanna, if they were to bring $1 billion right now, they get their money together, they bring $1 billion to Ghana right now, what should they invest in it and why?
I would think that the first thing they should do is invest in industrialization. That's what I do. You know, I went from, you know, building 2 houses on 1 plot, which was just basic, maximizing the use of the land, and I thank God for that wisdom. And over 20 years, it's grown to the point that we're sitting in one of my maximizations, which is 108 apartments on 1.5 plots. You know, so you know, I'm good at maximizing money for people. You know, I don't like to talk about business. I like to just play with the character freedom and you know, sort of baffle everyone's mind, like who's this guy, who's this. But I keep the wisdom intact. You know, I keep it inside me because I'm here to quadruple, multiply numbers. I'm here to leave the legacy like wealth, like one of the richest people ever, one of the wealthiest. Like, you know, I don't know how to say it in words, but I feel like I'm spiritually, mentally, filthy rich because there's so much opportunities that I've created out of the wisdom that God has given me. I'm ordained in the realm of this universe. You know, I touch little things and I just watch it grow bigger. But what happened when I managed to, you know, squeeze everything out of the land by maximizing everything? I branched into the commercial part of the same real estate, and then now I had to go into the national and industrial. Well, industrial, I realized that it has the most money that Africans have never tapped into. So there is no industrialist in Africa. Like, I'm sorry, there might be one, but very little, if you're hearing me. But I'm saying it with facts because I've done my research. And that's why our economy never grows. Why? Because everyone that manufactures something in Africa is doing it on a smaller scale, and it's either from Lebanon, China, or somewhere. See, Africans are not used to industrialization. They're not used to industrialize their things, because then all of these minerals here would be produced in 3 different phases before any of them will go out of our country. You know what happens when you have stuff being manufactured in your country and it's going out? You're sucking people's money in. You know what happens when you take the money from your country and you go to other people's country where the manufacturer goes to go and buy? You're sucking your economy out. Okay, so definitely there is some manufacturer in China who's taking Ghana's economy, 1 or 2 or 5 people, taking the whole 30 million people's economy. Okay, the only way for us to stop that is to start to produce our own. Okay, now this problem might look like it's a problem in Africa, but I can tell you this for a fact, and I've told Floyd and a few of the mega stars that I know, that listen, guys, you guys are more labeled than entitled. You guys are no investors. You're becoming like contractors, because investors are not going to think the way most of these people are thinking. I mean, if you look at all of these people, they have businesses, but their businesses are thriving on other people's businesses. There is no sort of production.
Right.
Okay, there is more suction than production. Okay, and why are they scared to invest? Because they're not used to it. Okay, Jay-Z made $1 billion from distribution, from buying art, from doing this, from doing that. So Jay-Z probably has never done investment and development.
Right.
Okay, Puff Daddy must have made $1 billion or 600 million from, you know, producing music for people and taking royalties and saving and flipping the money in music jukeboxes, this, that. But when it comes to the real actual development on the ground, where you create like an empire in corporatism, these guys don't have that skills. And I'm sorry if they're going to feel offended, but I'm here to challenge them that, you know, if they were to put this sort of money into industrialization in the next 10, 15 years, they would have the biggest sanctions in the world that controls the world, because they need the resources.
Right.
The world needs the resources, and they need it to be in a form of production. They need it to be refined. They need it to be repackaged again. And I really think that it is very possible, but don't expect the average African to have this opportunity to make these changes, because whenever he goes to the institutions that will be able to give him the financing for that, and they see his idea, they're not interested, okay? And then the ones that have it, have what it takes to put it together to do it also, they're like, no, Africa is filthy, I can't go there. I'd rather put my money where I am.
Switzerland or
yeah. So here we are, black people scattered with a lot of wealth, but we don't have conglomerates.
Right.
You know, we don't have entities that contribute into leadership, into governance, into empowerment, into you know, national and continental empowerment.
Right.
We don't have that.
Right.
This is power. This
Right.
is what I stand for. You know, I don't stand for owning a Rolex watch with a big house and a big cars when I can get a lot of it. When I also know that the minute you can afford for this, that's when you don't have any use for them.
Right.
You know, 'cause whatever you did to buy that, you're gonna keep doing that, not enjoying that.
Right.
You know, so
right.
it's not a big thing for me anymore. In fact, I just do it for, like I said, you know, to play with the mindsets of people and tell them that yes, this is the character, this is the person, and this is what you need to follow. You know, but it's not like I need it. What I need is what I'm talking about.
Right.
I need social investment. I need a human capitalization, you know, like real life. I mean, Google is one of the richest entities, and that is digital human capitalization. They're
Right.
capitalizing on humans by just taking their data and their information, right? I have the opportunity today to capitalize on humans, and not just the information or data, the actual human.
Right. The actual labor.
Yeah, the youth of Africa. You know, so these opportunities that we have here is great. I really think that we've been looked down upon. But what hurts me the most is that it's not just me that is getting hurt here. It's the entire black society, because we're disregarded everywhere we go. You know, people laugh at us, like, you know, how come you guys cannot fix yourself? You know, your governments are messed up, your roads are messed up, your youth, everybody is like, you know, we're becoming a bit useless for the world.
Right.
You know, and I want to be able to restore that, redeem that. So that is what my second movement is about, which is reformation. You know, the first one is redemptive, and I want to redeem stuff, and I want to reform it. But I'm going to do it in a revolutionary way.
Right.
You know, and when I say revolution, people just think that, you know, it's brutal. And in fact, the Western world makes Africans think that anything that is revolutionary is going to put you in prison or you'll be killed. You know, so everyone is trying to move away from it. But revolution simply means change.
Right.
Okay, when the Egyptians were, the Israelites were running from Egyptians to cross the water, that was a revolution. You know, it was a change. And when they left, no one knew what happened to Egypt after. But you know, and it took them some time. And so it's a whole change. And I think Africa needs that change. And so this question has given me the chance to voice out about, you know, some of these guys who are there with billions, and it's their choice. But I don't blame them, because sometimes also investing in a white world, your money is safer. These people know how to just give you 2% or 3%, but make sure that your money is safe. And then when you come here, it can be a different ball game. But
I mean, the thing is, and that's the, you know, the journey of knowledge begins with admitting that you don't know, and so you're willing to learn and acquire new skills, and you're willing to acquire new leaders, new mentors. Basically, you can't always be the man. You have to be like, no, I'm learning.
But do you think rich people feel like that?
I think depends.
Are you rich?
Spiritually, I'm very rich.
Okay,
right.
right.
But the problem is that there's some people who, like you referring to, the investor, and then, you know, the celebrity, and they're very different in the way that they think, and they administrate themselves in the world. The investor is smart, shrewd, and makes decisions that are based on, you know, maximizing, you know, their dollar, or maximizing their asset, and all of that stuff. And then the celebrity is very much, hey, I used to be poor, now look at how much stuff I've got, right? And I think that people need to understand the difference, and I've said it before, between primary, secondary, and tertiary economy. And all of the people who are rich now, black people in the USA, in Brazil, in the UK, even in Jamaica, they are mainly rich from tertiary economy, and the people that they're investing in with have primary and secondary economy first.
Right.
And it's very difficult for anybody to have a successful entertainment industry without having first a successful primary economy, first a successful secondary economy. And that's why black people don't own black music in North America.
I really think that, you know, we need to work on our self-mentality, first of all, and then we need to redeem our power back to show the world that, yes, we're leaders we're governors, we're rulers. Rulers draw the line straight, mathematically. That's what they taught us in the math school. That, you know, out of all that equipment for learning mathematics, you just need a ruler to draw the line straight. But today, if they say there should be an African ruler or a ruler in any African country, they will say no because of democracy. But, you know, we need some benevolent rulers that can help these people. They don't know where they're going. I can tell you that for a fact. You know, a child that goes to school and studies someone else's history, someone else's, you know, academial stuff, and this guy doesn't know that this stone can be mined and turned to something, and they never taught him anything. And this guy goes to school for 22 years. If you have 5 children and you have to pay all their fees for 22 years, you know how much that is? If you send them to private school, it will be above $10 million. And then when you send them to university and send them to Europe and America and all of these places, you're paying 60, 70,000 a semester. You say in 4 years you would have spent another $10 million if you were rich, only for these people to come back and get a job for $1,500 or $2,000. But you tell me, if that was your investment, you would take that money back for it.
Right.
Exactly. So we have to look at things from that aspect and see that we're far behind as black people. I've accepted it. You know, I've accepted it. Like, I'm not the type that, you know, feels so proud about, you know, having money or having wealth or something that would make me have pride. No. I think even with all that I've acquired, I feel like it's 1% of what we should be doing, or what I should be doing. So I want to be able to encourage people. I want to be able to push people. I want to be able to do more and have a part of this society, you know, kind of building themselves again, you know, in terms of changing skylines, investment in industrial packaging, industrialization, manufacturing, you know, exporting our goods out, getting some money coming in, changing the systems of our education, letting the kids start to think and not to chew.
Right.
Not to chew. They have to think.
Especially with this one. This one is coming from Ghana and Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, chocolate. And right now, I just heard that the Ghanaian and the Ivorians have boycotted the cocoa meeting that's happening right now in Europe, because though it's increased between 6 to 7%, that hasn't reflected on what the farmers are getting and what the distributors are getting. And so basically what you're saying is that your line is open. If people want to call you and they want to invest, they want to come and learn.
Yeah, mind you, I've heard a lot of crap in my time.
Talk
of being successful. So, you know, sometimes I listen to people halfway, because the talk, like I said, is more than the do. And when you have done so much to get to where you are, you realize that on that path you were alone.
Right.
You know, it's not many people that will think like you. It's not many people that will act like you and take risk like you.
Right.
You know, but I do have it locked right now.
Right.
And I know that by the time I introduce methanol plants, you know, to open the gates for industrialization, and methanol produces petrochemicals, and of course Petronia is one of my, you know, biggest projects in the western part of Ghana, which is the richest part of Africa.
Okay.
Because you have over 11 resources, minerals in one, concentrated in one area, and it's next to the coast. So I'm definitely targeting the western, that I will be able to ship and export goods from here to you guys in future, where cocoa is. I mean, Ghana is the second biggest cocoa producer in the world, which means almost every chocolate that the world is eating is from cocoa. Congo has the biggest
coltan.
Yeah, coltan and all of this. And look how many mobile phones are being bought in a year in the world.
Right.
Okay, so without these resources, there will be no mobile phones. You know, there's so much. I mean, look how many people are getting married. And then 70 to 80% of the gold is coming from Africa. You know, but it's more glittery and flashy in other people's countries, like in the glasses and all of that. And, you know, it's about time. It's about time. Like Freedom Jacob Caesar, I stand for this. And I'm definitely open for investment, but also not for the chicken risk.
Right.
You know, like, it's not, this is not supper or dinner. You know,
the long game.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
You need to be ready. You need to, I don't even know how come I got to where I am today, but I just, you know, took my shoes off and I said, I'm going to walk barefoot on this path. And I was very lonely there, you know, but righteously, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I thought that was the end. But I realized that I had to walk through another gate. You know, and I'm looking for people that sort of share this vision that I have for Africans. You know, how we turn our story around by industrializing ourselves again. All of a sudden, everywhere there is employment, everywhere there was like chases of taxes, everywhere, like, you know, everyone was becoming a middle income from like the less privileged. So like you see an economy unfold and being built. And then the world can see that, no, these guys don't need us anymore. Because then the same money we go to them to borrow, 1 billion, 2 billion, there will be more circulating in our system than going to them. That is where I want to take Africans to. You know, I want to build a platform that can be replicated in every other African countries. And that's why I chose Petronia to introduce petrochemicals. And I did my research and realized that petrochemicals is almost in every product. Okay, it's in paracetamol, it's in weave-ons, it's in glass, it's
plastic,
in yes, medicine, you know, and we have to import these things. And all you have to do is tap into the gas.
And make it.
Yes, and you have a methanol. And so, you know, it's taken me 10 years to have gotten here. But for me, a company that I probably invested some millions, but then by the time I realized the value of the land alone and everything has gone to, you know, way over $250 million. And today, when we're talking about putting in something like a methanol plant, it actually becomes billions overnight. The point is, how did I make the billions? That is the good question that I will ask myself. I think a lot of people will have a different perception for it. But I knew that I started from the grassroots with the total vision, with not the dream. And I followed it, and I worked it, and I built it. You know, a lot of tribulations, the up and downs, but I still kept going, and I'm still going. You know, and I feel like once that is happening, almost every young person that has heard of this name, Freedom Jacob Caesar, would dream to replicate that sort of template that I've created. That's the vision.
Okay, so I think probably my final question to you, because, you know, thank you for sharing how you think, is what is spirituality to you? Because you said you were raised poor, I was raised poor, you were raised vegetarian, I was raised vegetarian, and
now I do eat all the stuff though.
Yeah, I know. I'm still vegetarian.
Yeah, that's good.
But I did eat all the stuff, but I've come back around now. And your mom was a spiritualist. What did your mother teach you, and what does spirituality teach you about how to be? Because a lot of people around the world right now, because of various things, whether it's digital technology, whether it's their job, their context and conditions that surround them, and whether it's religion, they don't have a clue how to tap into their own, what is already within them. So you learn this from very young, and you've already been rich before the money came, right? What is that to you? What does it look like, and how has it affected your life?
So first of all, spirituality is not taught by a person or a human. Okay? Spirituality, it's actually attained through nature. When you start to have respect for the things you came to meet, automatically they had connections, you know, verbal and physical connections. That's to attain. Your spirit starts to pick it. Okay, and then once you're communicating with some of these things, you start to have value as you, as a person, as a human. This is where a lot of people couldn't draw the line between religion and spirituality.
Right.
You know, I always believe that a religion is just a matter of being real within a region that you belong to. So if you were born in the north and you saw people going like that, you automatically grow up to be like that. You know, you can hold it tight as you want, but you are a copycat. That's what you're doing. But the spirit is what really counts, because now you're intersecting and connecting with things on this planet, and now you respect the tree, so you just don't want to damage the tree. You know, like, and even if it's an animal, some people say bury it, but you say no. I want to keep the animal because I want the skins. I want to keep the skins with me. Why should you bury it to be destroyed? And so when you start going that way, the universe starts to give you more wisdom because it's become your passion, you know, and then your spirit starts to grow. You know, the spirit is different from the brain. The brain is a muscle, but the spirit is a shadow. It's a ghost. It appears and reappears. You know, sometimes you feel down. It leaves you because you're not doing the right thing. You know, and then you just do a few more right things, then it just comes back.
Yeah,
you know, so I think really like, you know, for me, spirituality is something that, you know, or a dimension that human beings should practice. You know, they should have respect for what they came to meet. They should have respect for human beings. They should have respect for animals. They should have a purpose for all of these things. And the gates will start to open for their wisdom to operate. You know, I probably never exposed this part of me to the world, but I barely say anything bad about people. They're the ones. And I like to set the trap for them because, you know, building wealth, because I'm pure. And genuinely, I give. I give to the needy. I take from those who want because it doesn't belong to them. That is the ruthless side of me. But I'm empowered by God to do these things. Okay, then I reinvest back onto the land where I belong to. So I'm dealing with spirits here. I'm not doing this alone. You know, I'm not the young kid that I'd probably say I went to university and I study economics, or I'm coming